Welcome to Cosmic Convos with Prime Creator. I am so excited to have with us today Zion Zeta. Zion Zeta is the author of her book, Connecting the Stars, where she shares her experiences and interactions of an otherworldly nature. And she's the host behind the Spiritual Alien podcast, a podcast for starseeds and lightworkers looking for inspiration and guidance on topics relating to spirituality, New Age teachings, and ET phenomena. Zion Zeta is a 3D artist and tarot expert who has done readings for thousands of people online, as well as in person since 2010. For more information about Zion, you can go to zionzeta.com, ZionZeta.com. Thank you so much for being with me today, Zion. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Susie, so much for having me here. I am very excited for this opportunity that you have given me today, and I can't wait. I am very excited for what's going to happen today. Greetings, Prime Creator.
Hello, dear one.
I would like to ask you, how are you doing today in this present moment?
Always love, dear one. I am always love.
Beautiful, beautiful. I wanted to thank you so much for being part of this present moment right here, right now. And I would like to make you a few questions if you would be so kind to answer. The first one is a very silly question. I would like to start with something that has bothered me for a very long time. And it's, is there a difference between a dimension and density? And if so, could you elaborate on this?
Dear one, it is mostly a matter of semantics, how people would define dimension versus density. So yes, you could say there is a difference, or depending upon how you define, you could say it is the same thing. I know this is not quite answering your question perhaps in the way that you would desire, but truly it is how people define things and what meanings they would assign to a certain word. One could say that a dimensional space is defined in terms of a space that is taken up within the universe, a frequency of that space. And the density would be, yes, the vibration of that space and the frequency of that space, a sort of measurement of the thickness or the lightness or heaviness. We run into trouble with definitions because of limitations of language. It is more of a feeling and less of a mind understanding. Does this make sense, dear one?
Yes, Prime Creator, it does. Thank you. So I have another question, and I would like to say, many people tend to think that they need to do yoga or meditate in order to connect with the main source, the creator, the all that is, myself included. Yet I do not feel a resonance with certain things. For example, I no longer do yoga. What would you suggest someone who is seeking a connection with source to do if they do not resonate with something that the majority do? So, for example, a lot of people say that you need to do yoga or meditate in order to connect to a higher power. But if something or someone rather does not resonate with this, what would you suggest them to do to feel a closer connection to what we would call God?
Yes, dear one. This is a matter of individuality for each one on their journey, and we call it a journey because it is this. Sometimes, yes, there are sudden awakenings and connections that are made, and sometimes it is more of an exploration. Each being, each human is wired differently. Some receive information, for example, through their third eye, some through the crown, some through the heart, some through the gut or intuition, and some through all of these places and more. And so it is up to the individual to explore their own being, to get to know their inner workings, so to speak, how they process information, how they receive information, how they connect with information. For many beings, the first step is simply to set the intention and connect with the heart. For the heart is the gateway to all of these other places, to all of these other modes and modalities in which they can connect with Source. And so if a being sets their intention to connect with their heart, to move into their heart, to open and expand their heart, and then they can find the practical ways of this connection. For some, it can be done through sound, through toning, through playing drums or other instruments, playing music. Through some, it can be going out into nature. For some, it can be working with their breath. For some, it can be exercising, moving the body. For some, it can be right before falling asleep and going into dream time, and right before fully waking up, that in-between space where they can access their connection to their heart and therefore to Source. And so you see, it is different for each being. And as you suggested, throughout the journey, there are evolutions, there are expansions and changes. And so what resonated at one time, what was helpful at one time, you may outgrow, you may move beyond, and find new and other and expanded ways of connecting with Source. I thank you, dear one.
And thank you for the beautiful answer. I really, really appreciate it. Now, speaking of which, I had a question come to head right now. And this is related to psychedelics, like consuming mushrooms or marijuana or other types of plants for spiritual evolution. There are a lot of people who are relying on external tools to connect to Source. Some people say that they have had positive results from these experiences. Now, my question would be, is it suggested or is it necessary to consume some kind of psychedelic in order to connect to Source? Or is this something that someone can experience? For example, the psychedelic experience, like the visuals, visions, things like that. Can they experience all of these visions and insights without the need of a plant that helps them do that? Or do you feel that a person could benefit at some point from a push, so to speak?
Thank you, dear one. Again, this depends upon where the person is in the journey, their wiring, their karma, their other lifetimes and other dimensional realities. It is more complex than such a simple answer. Overall, however, if a being is on the ascension journey and wishes to become pure and wishes to become higher frequency and with their own energy and a powerful master of their journey, then it is suggested to not work with these substances at all and to practice tapping into their own energy, connecting with their own soul to get the information this way. For example, I will use this channel. She has never participated in substances because she is on the mastery path. And important in the purification process is learning to be with one's own energy and one's soul. Now, for some beings, depending upon where they are on the path, these substances can be helpful to activate new awarenesses, to make connections to other dimensions, realms, and realities. Yes, they are useful in this way. However, the caution or the shadow side of the use of such substances is it allows other energies to come into the being's field. These energies are sometimes neutral, sometimes benevolent, sometimes malevolent, not so helpful, that have agendas to siphon the energy of the being. And so the more they engage with these substances, the more energy they can take from the being. This does not occur in all cases, but it is quite common. And most beings using these substances are not aware of this interaction or this exchange of energy. They think they can simply receive from the substance and not have to give anything of themselves. But since you are in a polarity universe, there's always an exchange, an interaction, a give and take, so to speak. And so the benefit of finding or discovering and connecting to your soul and receiving the information in this way is that there are no side effects. No entities or implants or energies or programs can come in from the external substances because you are connecting to your own purity. Do you have clarifying questions about this, dear one?
No, I really appreciate the in-depth answer. It does answer the initial doubt that I had. So speaking about plants and Mother Nature, I wanted to talk about Mother Earth for a second. Mother Nature has been very active recently. I would say since the great solar eclipse of 2017, with a lot of volcanic activity, hurricanes, floods, wildfires, and so on. And I would like to ask you, is this part of the shift to a new density?
Yes, dear one, it is multi-layered in what is occurring here. On one level, Gaia is purifying, cleansing herself so that she can move forward in her frequency expansions. On another level, it serves to awaken humanity, to give them an opportunity to experience a pattern disruption in their lives so that they can go deeper within themselves to see what is truly important, what is most important for their life, for their soul path. It is a way for them to connect with their soul path if they are open and willing to expand themselves in this way. It is also a rearrangement of sorts. As you have noticed, perhaps in your own body, in your own life, that as you progress on your journey, things are rearranged or realigned to better support your soul mission and your path. It is the same with Mother Earth. There are realignments geographically speaking as well as energetically, and these are reflected in things such as hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, etc.
There is something else in relation to Gaia and all of us as a whole. Many of us are struggling with negativity, and we are being constantly bombarded everywhere that we go or look at. This can make us feel depressed or isolated or perhaps even suicidal. What can one do to raise our vibration and not let the current events in the world to affect us so deeply?
First, if you are a being such as you just described, to recognize and honor that you are a sensitive being, that you are one who feels and who is experiencing the pulse, the energy of the collective and Gaia herself. In this recognition, there is great power, for you can then decide what you will do with these energies. Will you take them into your field and make them as your own, or will you recognize that they are not your true essence and not your true purity? And so in some ways, it is as if you can put up a boundary to specify that you wish to be with your energy, or if you decide to be in service to the collective, you can honor these energies, the shadow energies such as negativity, chaos, and bring love and acceptance to these energies, thereby transmuting them. For many of you are playing the role at this time of transmuter. Whether you use the violet flame or it is simply your own being and essence, you are transmuting the chaotic, dense, negative energies into purity, into love, into light. Now, on a more practical level, you can also bring a sort of energy of retreat into your life. When these energies become overwhelming, to extract yourself, to pull back and go into a safe space, whether it is nature or a bedroom, some energetic space that is nourishing for you, so that your systems can recover from the overwhelming amounts of energy. Yes, dear ones, it is quite intense for many human beings at this time. And even more human beings are waking up and beginning to feel the intensity. And so it is, from my perspective, I understand that it is and can be overwhelming for you. But I would invite you, dear ones, to also see this as an opportunity to work on your mastery, to work on your internal fortitude, the strength of your being, the integrity of your being. And this goes back to conversations we have had about doing your inner work, purifying, cleansing yourself. For when you face your own shadow, it is much easier to find peace within the collective shadow. When chaos surrounds, if you have the muscle developed, if you have the ability to look at your own darkness, your own negativity, your own density, it is much easier to hold space, to love and accept the density and negativity around you. And so again, dear ones, this is a journey. This is not a sudden awareness that changes everything, unless, of course, it is. I thank you, dear ones.
Thank you, Prime Creator. That was a beautiful answer, and I really, really enjoyed it. Speaking of which, I would like to get into relationships and overall connections with other people. How can someone step into their power without coming across as a bad person or aggressive or bossy? This is something that I struggle with, and a lot of people struggle with, because many people take us for granted and our niceness for interest, so they become very leechy, very vampiric in nature. How can someone stand up and protect themselves from a vampiric person, so to speak?
Yes, dear one, it is with love. To love and honor yourself, your sacred space, your energy, whatever it is you need to thrive. And to not worry about how it comes across to another. For if it is truly coming from a space of love within you, for yourself and for others, the perception of other does not matter. It is not relevant. If you are sensitive to the perceptions of others, then that is your inner work, do you see? That is your opportunity to look at yourself and to say, why do I care what others think of me? And yes, this is very common. This is very common, this channel included. For as sensitive, loving beings, of course, you care how others feel. But the problem becomes when you care about how others feel about you. and you make it personal and you make it your problem, when in truth it is not your problem. It is the issue of the other. So the bottom line here is to love yourself, honor and cherish your sacred time, your sacred space. And in this way, you become an overflow of love. And then it can be shared with others in the way that you choose. And to be clear, loving others does not mean allowing them to leech or steal your energy. For that is not love. It is not loving for you. It is not loving for them. Love is honor. Honor for yourself. Honor for the other. And so just as you would not pretend to love somebody by taking their energy or their physical possessions, you would love them by honoring their space, honoring the things they have accumulated in their life. Does this make sense, dear one?
Yes, thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful, heartfelt answer. I really, really appreciate it. Speaking of which, there are a lot of people on our circle, our tribe, so to speak, that are not very well intentioned. Some people may know who they are, others are not aware. How can we somehow defend others who might fall prey to these people in power in the spiritual community? I guess I should, like, a question would be, how can someone's negativity and bad intentions and agenda be revealed so that more people can be aware and defend themselves from the claws of these people with bad intentions? Like, I guess a better question would be, how can someone tell when a spiritual guru or leader has bad intentions?
Yes, dear one. Very important in the spiritual journey is discernment. And this is a skill that many are still working on developing. There are many layers to how all of this works. Whether the being is spiritual or whether they are a member of what you would call the Cabal or the Illuminati, each being must develop discernment. Also understanding that these beings are still your teachers. So for example, if you engage with one of these beings in a trusting way, trusting what they are telling you, trusting that they are helping you, and it turns out that they are indeed not helping you, but taking your energy, it is then a mastery opportunity for you to take back your power, to take back your energy, and to develop a deeper discernment for future interactions with other beings. And so while I understand your desire to protect, to defend those who do not have this discernment or awareness, this is not your job. It is not your role. It is the role of each being to develop this discernment for themselves. Now, there are certainly occasions if someone is in immediate danger, if it is a child, if it is someone that is truly helpless. These are variations to what I have just conveyed. But if it is someone who can truly stand up for themselves and have simply made themselves a victim, this is a different scenario. It is then their opportunity to develop discernment and to take back their power What you are describing happens in many, many ways on this planet. It is not just those in spiritual leadership positions. It is not just Cabal and Illuminati. Humans do this to each other every day in subtle and very nuanced ways. And this is why discernment is so important, because it is not just for the obvious things, it is for the more subtle things. You wonder, how does one develop discernment? Again, this is a journey, dear ones. For unless you have a sudden third eye opening experience, for example, you may not immediately realize what to look for. The biggest indicator is when you purify your own self and cleanse your own self, it is much easier to see the energy and to feel the energy of others. If you are not doing your inner work, for example, it will be much easier to be taken advantage of, because you will have things within your being that resonate, that are attracted to what is going on in the spiritual leader, for example. When you take responsibility for your own spiritual path, and you clean yourself, and you release what no longer serves, and you heal the inner child, etc., etc., then your being is clean and clear to be able to feel the subtleties of the energies of others, to know and discern what is in resonance for you and what you would rather stay away from. Do you have clarifying questions about this, dear one?
Yes, my next question in regards to that would be, does diet play a role in becoming more clear and discerning?
Absolutely, dear one. Unless you are at a very high mastery level where you have the ability to transmute everything you put into your being, and even if you think you have this ability, chances are you may not have this ability to the extent that you think that you do. So I will just offer that to plant a seed within your being. For most of you, yes, diet is very important. The cleaner, the purer, the fresher the food, the higher the frequency your own body can be. Understanding also that within food there is programming. The foods that have been affected by the pesticide program, the insecticide program, the GMO programming. If you are eating foods contaminated with things like this, those energetic signatures go into your being and into your body. And yes, this is why it is so important to bless your food, to transmute any of those patterns and programs in the food before you put it into your being. And so for those who do not have easy access to higher vibrational food, blessing and transmuting the food is of utmost importance. And for those of you who do have easier access, blessing is still important. And you can look for those foods that are fresh, that are of great purity. And this will greatly support your body in maintaining dynamic balance and in raising your frequency and in keeping your body pure and clear of external programming and patterns.
Something else that I would like to get into detail before this transmission ends if someone that is asleep, how may I assist someone that is still asleep and unaware of what's going on in the world without coming across as a pushy person trying to manipulate them? How may I assist the collective consciousness and people that are still unaware or unawake? How can I be of service to these people?
Yes, it is quite simple. Simply be. Simply be yourself. Be your soul mission. Execute your soul mission. It is not your role to wake people up. It is your role to be who you are. And in the process of being who you are, those who are ready to awaken can receive your energetic signatures and use them in their awakening process. So there is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to say specifically to them. Simply be who you are. And in your being, allowing yourself to radiate, to shine, to emanate your essence. And allow your essence to be shared with those whom are ready to receive it, with those with whom you are wanting to share it. Keep it simple, dear ones. Keep it simple.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. And one last thing, what message would you like to give us all as a whole collective right now?
We have spoken many times about how in this ascension journey, the energies would become more and more intense. More love and light is coming to your planet. More shadow is being illuminated. More chaos is being revealed. More density is being revealed. And so in this process, you may notice externally around you more chaos, more tragedy, shocking things in government or Hollywood, for example. Remember to keep the perspective, dear ones, that all must be revealed and all must unravel as you create the new. Also remembering, dear ones, that you are greatly supported in these times. Yes, if you get sucked into the chaos and negativity, you will not feel the support. But if you are able to maintain your perspective and work on being with your own energy and soul essence, you will be able to feel the support. You will be able to feel the upliftment of your own being so that you are not as affected by these external energies. So that you have an understanding within your being that what is occurring is in divine order and alignment. It must come to the surface. It must be seen. It must be revealed. And that is what is happening right now on your planet. You are seeing things that have been hidden for eons of time. And there is much more that will be coming to the surface. There is much more that will be revealed. And so develop your muscles to navigate through these times. Go into your heart space. Allow your heart to open and expand. Go into your soul space. Allow your soul to be revealed to you. Because in doing this, you will transcend the polarity of these times. You will transcend the imbalances, the chaos. And you can be centered in your own glory, in your own energy. Yes, I use the word glory, for that is what you are. You are light. You are love. You are glory. And allow that radiance of your own glory to emanate from your being, to connect with Mother Earth, to connect with the great central sun, to anchor you in the light, so that you can remember who you are as a powerful being, as a powerful creator upon planet Earth. And you can create the shift instead of being affected or hurt by it. I thank you, dear ones. I thank you.
Thank you, Prime Creator, for being here today in this present moment. And thank you so much for answering all these questions. And thank you so much for your beautiful, ever-loving presence.
Thank you, dear one. Wow, Prime Creator speaking with authority today.
I love it. That was beautiful.